Well, it's about time. Let's begin. Well, do you know what? I bet Keir Starmer was absolutely dreading Prime Minister's questions today. I mean, admittedly, he did win the vote yesterday to scrap people's winter fuel allowances. However, his authority was, just to say, a little bit bruised. Judging, of course, by the amount of Labour MPs that either abstained or voted against it. But now, to add to that, Nigel Farage must have thought that now would be the perfect time to kind of stamp all over Keir Starmer's man sausage with some of his other policies. Just take a look at this.
Nigel Farage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday we witnessed some extraordinary celebratory scenes outside Britain's prisons where, in some cases, serious career criminals were released. And this to make way for, yes, rioters, but equally those who've said unpleasant things on Facebook and elsewhere on social media. Does the Prime Minister understand? There is a growing feeling of anger in this country that we are living through two-tier policing and a two-tier justice system.
I'm angry to be put in a position of having to release people who should be in prison because the last government broke the prison system. And the Prime Minister was repeatedly warned. He had his own release scheme. He was repeatedly warned that he had to adopt the scheme that we put in place. The former Justice Minister said if we don't do it, we'll have to get down on our knees and pray. The police chiefs made it absolutely clear in a letter to him before the election that he needed to take action, saying that they wouldn't be able to discharge their duties and saying the risk was loss of an ability to detain suspects. That means, Mr. Speaker, an inability to arrest people committing offences. That's how bad it was, and they warned the Leader of the Opposition that further delays until after the general election will increase the risk significantly. What did he do? He delayed and increased the risks.
So I guess that's his answer, just blame the last government completely, and that's all he seems to be doing, isn't it? It's just going over the same attack lines, basically saying that it's the Conservatives' fault. When at the end of the day, if I was in charge, I would have got another one of those Bibby Stockholm things and converted it into a prison and thereby creating another, 500 or so prison places, rather than take Keir Starmer's approach and basically letting everyone go, it seems, eh? But just where have they gone? I mean, let's face it, this was done in a bit of a hurry, shall we say, so I'm guessing obviously most people went home, but there are probably a few, or maybe quite a bit, considering the amount of notice that they were given, that haven't actually got anywhere to go. So what are they going to do with them? Well, the answer might surprise you, and unfortunately it's not a good one. I say that because according to this article it says Labour set to put early release prisoners in, wait for this, taxpayer-funded hotels. So it seems they're not just for illegal boat people anymore, they're actually for prisoners. I mean, just imagine it, you got a prisoner who's committed a not very nice crime, shall we say. Of course they're serving their sentence, with prison guards and all, actually being made to do the punishment that they were given. And then the following week or 2 days later, they're suddenly gone from that pub into a nice fancy hotel, I'm guessing. Which, let's face it, is hardly anything but, eh? Especially, of course, remember, they're, from what I've heard, only served 40% of their sentence rather than the 50%, which they kind of serve at the moment. And Justice Secretary Shabima Mahood said inmates who are homeless on release could be temporarily placed in budget hotels if there are not enough places in bail hostels or other community accommodation typically used for offenders. And this comes after 1,700 prisoners were released from jails across England and Wales yesterday, with sickening pictures showing celebrations including soaking themselves in sparkling wine and punching the air. Because let's face it, remember, at the end of the day, all these people were convicted of a crime, and I'm guessing the victims of those crimes aren't exactly going to be too happy about this, especially when they hear that some of these people could actually be put up in a hotel with everything paid for them on the house, eh? And which, in fact, in my opinion, just makes complete mockery of the whole situation entirely. Either way, it does make me wonder just how many of these people will go on to re-offend when, let's face it, if they were still in prison, they wouldn't have had the opportunity to do so, would they? And unfortunately, I don't think putting a load of them up in cushy hotels is really going to stop that from happening. And let's face it, whether Keir Starmer likes it or not, or wants to admit it or not, shall I say, he is going to have to deal with the two-tier Keir police, and that is often seen to be happening, because who knows, if he doesn't, we could actually end up one day with a load of people in prison for hurty words, whereas people who have actually done a lot more serious crimes, shall we say, are just walking the streets. And that should not be acceptable in anyone's eyes, eh?